All right, so the first thing that we're going to look at is, of course, Google Drive. Now, when we talk about collaboration, there are many tools throughout Google Drive that will support us in that kind of that race to collaborate, really making the most out of these tools. So we're going to start with Workspaces in priority. Now, Workspaces inside of priority, so it's the left-hand menu that you go to in Google Drive, and they provide you with the ease of finding commonly used files and organizing them into a single location. And this is known as a workspace. Now, from your Chrome browser, you're going to sign into your G Suite account. And once you have, you can go into Google Drive, whether it's drive.google.com or using the Google Apps Launcher. Some of you might even know it as the waffle at the top right of your page, a little 9-dotted icon. You can also save Google Drive as a bookmark, so that will help give you quick and easy access as well. Now, in your menu on the left-hand side, so once you're signed in and you can see your Google Drive, there's an area called Priority. And Priority at the bottom of the page will contain your workspaces. Think of these as areas for your projects that you need to work on. Now, I typically have a workspace for each customer that we work with, so that any file that I need for that customer, I can find it all in this one single location instead of having to go to one shared drive for one thing and into another folder for another thing. I like to keep them all in one area. Now, the thing that I love about this is it helps me keep organized, and it is a lot easier for me to find the files that I need, making my workday a bit more efficient. So what we're going to do now is talk about how we can create that workspace. Now, you can use these workspaces for projects, customers. It could be just daily, daily or weekly files that you access. Workspaces can be created however you want to utilize them. So when we look at creating workspaces, down at the bottom next to workspaces is the word create. What you would do is you would select create, and from there a small window is going to appear. That's going to allow you to name your workspace, and then from there, once you name it, you can go ahead and create it. Now later, once you've created this workspace, you can also edit the name, of course. You can even remove that workspace altogether. Once we've created that workspace, and you've named the workspace, it is going to prompt you to add files. Now, inside of each of your workspaces, you can hold up to 25 files, and you can choose any files that you want to place in there. Now, you will see that Google will suggest some files to you. So typically it will be any files that you regularly use or have a similar name to what you've titled that workspace. However, you can also choose other files. And what this will allow you to do is it will allow you to search throughout your Google Drive and select the files that you appropriately want to add into that space. So over on the right-hand side of your screen, you can look through your recent files, your My Drive, any shared drives, and so forth. And there's a little arrow that pops up right over here, so you have other areas that you can utilize and look through as well. Once you've selected all the files that you want to add, you can go ahead and just add those into that workspace. Again, it's up to 25 files per space. Now, these files are not being moved from their original location. I'm simply telling the cloud, essentially, that I want that file to be found in this workspace. So you're simply making everything available under that one area for you. You're not removing anyone else's access if it's coming out of a shared drive. It's just simply making it more convenient for you to access that file. Okay? All right, another tool that can help utilize our journey towards collaboration is using templates. Now, throughout Google Drive, so we're talking about our editors here now, so Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, even in Google Forms, we have what's known as a template gallery. Now, this template gallery can be used as a central point for documents that you and your team use on a regular basis. So once a template is saved into the template gallery, it will remain as a template, and selecting to open it will simply make a copy of it, and it's saved to that user's My Drive. Okay, that means there's no fear of that template itself being altered. So if we want to look at actually adding a template into that template drive, the benefit here is that you don't have to keep making copies for people when you want to share a file with them, maybe that they want to use as their template. You can simply add that into the template gallery, and then they can go in at will and select it when they need it. So if we look at how we're submitting our templates, Once you've selected the template gallery from our previous home screen, you're brought to an area where you can browse any available templates that are within your domain, as well as submit templates of your own. Just please be mindful that if you do submit any templates of your own, your company will have access to any templates that live in that area. So just be mindful of that. If you want to submit a template, all you need to do is actually select Submit Template. From there, it's going to ask you to select a document for your template. So submit the template, go ahead and select your document. And then from there, once you've done that, it's going to actually ask you if you want to submit a copy of the file instead of the original. Now, I did make a note here that we typically recommend to do that. However, it is entirely up to you. Now, if you were to submit a copy of the file instead of the original, it just means that you have the original there if you ever need it. But again, you don't have to select that box if you don't want or need to. Once you're done selecting your file, then what it's going to do is ask you to title that document. So go ahead and give it a title, and then choose a category for it to live under. So it's going to actually give you a drop-down menu of categories, and you can choose one of those for it to live under. Last but not least, you'll go ahead and submit that template. That template, once it's submitted, is live in the template gallery for you and your colleagues in your domain to use. All right. Another tool that we have to support us in our journey towards collaboration is, of course, talking about how we share and the permissions that we provide to people as we're going through document access. Now, when we look at sharing files with others, there's multiple different ways that you can share. You can do that through the file menus of the files that you're in. You can do that by right-clicking and using your right-click menu inside of Google Drive. Also, when you're inside of a document, up at the top right of the screen is going to be a Share button. And that button will be in the color that's allocated for the file that you're in. So Docs is associated with the color blue, Sheets with green, and Slides with that yellow, of course. So once you've selected Share, it's going to ask you to enter in the name or email address of the person or people you'd like to grant access to. And if I could just offer you a little bit of a watch point here, if you are adding multiple people to sharing this file at that point, you will need to make sure that you're content with all of them having the same level of access. If you want to add some people to have one level of access and some people to have a different level of access, you would have to select share at different locations, share at different times. So one share, for example, so that you can add them as a viewer, and then another share so that you can add some people as commenters or editors. So that leads us to those actual permissions that we give. Now, if you were to add someone as a viewer, it simply means that they're able to view that file. They can look at it, they can appreciate the work that you've done in the file, but they only are able to view it. If you add someone as a commenter, it means that they can view as well as make comments or suggestions on that file. And then, of course, the last but not least is the editor. And this is where you're basically inviting them in to be a collaborator. You want them to go in and edit that file and fully collaborate on that file with you. Something I would like to reassure you of here. The second that you add someone to a file and you start to maybe double think or rethink, how their level of access will affect the file, you can always go in and change their level of access. You can also remove people's access from files as well. So if you've done something and you think, oh, I'm not sure if they should have that level of access, you can go back in and you can change your mind. It is all real-time changes that you're making. So you will be able to make sure that that file is secure. Okay. Now we're going to look at when we're collaborating, how one of the ways that we can collaborate as well is also going from Google Chat right into collaboration of a file. Now, when we look at collaborating, we can do that many different ways. We can do that from within a file. Another way, which is quite common actually, is to go through Google Chat. So after you've shared a file with a colleague, group of people, or one person, you can work on it together in real time, and that's bringing that real life collaboration into the workplace, which at this point for many of us is in our homes. Now, from within inside a Google chat, there's a Google Drive icon. So when you're in a chat with someone, down in your message bar is the Google Drive icon. Choose the file that you wish to collaborate on. So once you select the Google Drive icon, you can choose that file that you wish to collaborate on. Google will prompt you about the level of access. So it will let you know if their level of access is comment only. You might need to change that to an editor, but it will just prompt you to make sure you've got the correct level of access to provide to them. Now, once you've chosen the file, you select the word select down at the bottom left, and then you hit enter on your message, and that simply shares that file with your colleague. And from there, both of you can click on that file and go into collaborating on it at the same time. So we can go from having a chat, going right into and collaborating on a document. Okay. As far as what it looks like when we look at collaboration, when one or more persons are in the file, at the top of the page, you'll be able to see who is accessing that file. You'll also see things like what color surrounds their profile picture. Now, sometimes you might even see an anonymous animal pop up instead of a profile picture, but it will actually coincide with where they are in the document. So you can actually see who is doing the work. So when you're collaborating, see what others are doing whilst you're in that document. You can add comments inside of a document, whether it's just simply replying to comments, assigning tasks. You can even go in and view things like comment history. Now, also, these things can be done whether you're in docs, sheets, or slides. So again, it's making sure that you understand you can collaborate across doc sheets and slides and still have this similar functionality. Also, when you're collaborating, you can hold a chat when you're within that file so that you can communicate the changes that are being made, or even share ideas with other people. So if you want to actually hold that chat within that file, let's say you've got a few people in there, up at the top, there's a gray circle that is next to the profile picture, and that will have a little person icon on it with 3 dots. What that does is that allows you to select that and hold a chat with anyone else that is inside of that document. So from within our document, we can start chatting with people and organizing the ideas and everything that we're doing within collaboration. Okay. Now we're going to take a look at Explore. So as far as Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides go, the tool Explore is a fantastic source to utilize. So what Explore does is it gives you the flexibility to do all the work that you need from right within the document that you're in. All you need to do is ask Explore for a little assistance on your next project. Now, it works a bit differently from one app to the next. So when we talk about how it works in Google Docs compared to Google Sheets and Slides. So we'll kind of run through that today a little bit as well. The general idea is the same. It's basically there to help you complete your work as quickly and as easily as possible. So at the bottom right of Docs, Sheets, and Slides, you'll see what I call a little diamond, our little diamond. So the icon will look like you see here. And when you hover over it with your mouse, it will open up and it will say the word Explore. Okay. If you were to select Explore from within a Google Doc, so we can see what it will look like here. Now, under that, it does say search your docs and the web. Something that I absolutely love about Explore and how it works within Google Docs and in Google Slides is that it's not only going to search your docs and the web, it's going to search the entirety of your G Suite. So that also includes your email. So if there is an email that you need to pull through as a source for a file that you're working on, you could do that here. Any documents from within Google Drive, you can pull those through using Explore. You can also search on the internet. So if you need to reference any web pages or pull any images from the internet, you can also do that utilizing Explore in Google Docs as well as in Google Slides. So in Google Slides, it looks quite similar. You'll see it will search your docs on the web. So again, that will also search the entirety of G Suite and the rest of the web as well. Now, how it works in Google Sheets is just a little bit different. So in Google Sheets, you have Explore down at the bottom, same location as it is in Docs and in Slides. As a side note, you can also find it under your Tools menu within those 3 applications. Now, in Google Sheets, if I were to highlight a column of information and then select Explore, the first thing it's going to provide to me at the top of Explore is the first 5 most commonly used functions, and it's going to apply that based on the column that I've highlighted. So if I was looking for the average of something within that column, Explorer's just done it for me. If I'm looking for the count or the sum, again, Explorer has done that for me. All I needed to do was highlight a column and then select Explorer, and voila, the work was done for me. Also in Explorer, you have the ability to look at a Q&A. So if I want to ask Explorer a question about my spreadsheet, the thing I love about this is that for a lot of us, we utilize the same spreadsheets on a week-to-week basis. So if I want to simply ask Explorer, what is the average age of males within the United Kingdom in my spreadsheet? Okay, so what Explore is going to do is it's going to take that question and then it's going to provide me with the answer. And what I like to provide as a tip when you're using Explore inside of Google Sheets, most of us will use that answers area quite frequently. When you're asking a question, try and think in terms of a function. So, do you need the average of something, the count of something? Try and think in terms of that function and also think in terms of the headings that you have to your columns, and it will provide you with some answers. It's a great tool to utilize, and it is absolutely a time saver. Also, you can choose formatting. Now, we do have conditional formatting inside of Google Sheets. This formatting that comes up in Explorer is just simply to make every other row look a little bit nicer. So it adds a little splash of color. Also, you've got more options. So I've added the arrow here. It just means you can scroll down. Explorer will also start to create pivot tables for you. It will allow you to edit those pivot tables. You can even access charts and graphs from Explorer based on information that you've highlighted in your spreadsheet. Explore, it's a time saver, and I would welcome anyone to use it, challenge it to the best of its ability, because you will absolutely not be sorry that you did. Okay. All right. Any questions?